Take a beating in the field all day. He's a hard-working son of a gun. Sheriff said he was a wild child, but you never seen him duck and run. Born out on the bayou on a Louisiana Saturday night. 9 years later, he can skip.
Tune in to the People's Patriot Project. We got your 6 of 6. Right now, you're listening to WeP3 Radio, proudly produced in partnership with Reach Across America Radio. Together, we share the mission to remember the fallen, honor those who have served, and teach the future generations the value of freedom. Our freedom is secured by the brave men and women who hear our nation's uniform. Stay tuned. Now playing on WeP3 Radio, we've got JT Gunslingers.
Headed north to Nashville, gonna make a little dream come true. Got shot in the thigh by a man with a 22. Kept plucking them guitar strings while the blood rolled down his leg. Make a living in these old dive bars, well, what do you expect? To hell with the highway, he'll take the unbeaten path. Try to trample him down, he'll just keep coming back. He'll shoot some deeper than trees, you can't kill bad grass.
Left your left, hey. Left, right, your left. You got it.
Trucker.
Tom Cruise, roll out. You're watching or listening to We Got Your 6 and 6 Patriot Playtime. We the people, the People's Patriot Project.
To put your skill set, your thoughts, and ideas, and want to help continue the mission, you have come to the right place. We are the People's Patriot Project, and we are the shock and awe when it comes to meeting the needs of our veterans and first responders. We are dealing with a new enemy in today's world where the wounds are not always seen. We want you to be a part of this mission in saving lives and making a difference. Welcome to We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. Here's the WeP3 team bringing you today's best heroes hits in the boots on the ground organizations that are saving lives. And as always, Patriot Pride.
Left, your left, hey. Left, right, your left. You got it.
Trucker. You are here for the WeP3. We got your 6 at 6. Patriot Playtime is not the name of our show anymore. But when you're doing this from the hip and you got your one dude instead of our team of 5 up here, we're going to do it the way we do it. And it's just going to be that. And so we got an amazing show tonight, folks. The intro would start like, I'm Andrew Eichmann. And I'm not Andrew Eichmann. Clearly not Andrew Eichmann. We're here. We're the People's Patriot Project. And we're bringing you our weekly Sunday evening, 1800 Central Standard Time podcast live stream show called We Got Your 6 at 6. Every week, we bring you a guest that is boots on the ground. They may be helping in a plethora of ways. We do PTSD. We do military sexual trauma. We do drug addiction, alcoholism. And sometimes we got just people that want to work and help in the world of logistics. That's the case today. But then we also come with an amazing musician that has taken the time to go serve their country and community first before they decide on their amazing trek to become an amazing musician, artist, recording artist, all the above. And we've got 2 amazing guests tonight. We talk about the good things that happen in life, and we talk about some of the stuff that's not that cool. And then we talk about the stuff that is affecting and working around our veteran, our enlisted, and our first responder worlds that we think that is kind of important to work on. Tonight's guests we got the amazing Lee Mosler, who we have grown very close to recently because he's made some decisions. We've made decisions, and we'll talk about that when he gets on here. But he's with Rec Digital. He does all the things behind the scenes, technology, can build your website. He can do way more than that. He is busy, involved in doing things, and we got him here live tonight. And then we've got the amazing Sean Russell out of the Fort Worth area, Texas, deep in the heart of Texas. He probably has never heard that song before. I'll share it with him when he comes on the screen, though. He's with Cutthroat Finches, and again, another service member. Just amazing. We can't get this job done without the amazing supporters and sponsors of our show. And we have Green Hills Contracting, an amazing brother, an amazing veteran musician as well, owned and operated out of Moberly, Missouri, Mr. Timothy Newton, and you can hear Timothy Newton on WeP3 Radio as well. We've got the amazing Derek Iozdio and Catch-22 Peer Support, always on the roll, always working, always helping, always making a difference, and he is the communications officer for WeP3. We got Bobby and Peggy Crutzinger out of Texas with Operation Texas Strong. These folks don't know when to slow down, don't know when to stop. They've donated. It's well over 300 plus, and they'll pop in here and they'll correct me. Well over 300 plus RVs to help homeless veterans in the southern part of the states. We've worked with them to get some RVs to people into Florida, into South Carolina, and some other places as well. Amazing mission, amazing people doing amazing things. And then again, people who are flocking to us. We got the Lauren Iozio falls. That apple doesn't fall far from the tree of Derek Iozio, but she's got Hobo. Let me do this again. Boho Hobo Hideaway, which is a Airbnb campsite down in Texas. So again, a place where you can get away. She's planning on doing a music event on that spot, and it'll be a place where we can just kind of go chill and do our thing, and it'll be amazing. We've got the amazing Brian Kinzer, who has a U.S.-based company that does all the things that helps. We're going to add Mr. Kinzer's contact information here, but the things he does helps with a lot of things with the People's Patriot Project and making sure that we're up and running. His products that he have are made in America, and it's an American company, and it's just a way to, again, give back to yourself and give back to organizations that are helping veterans and first responders. Mark your calendars, folks. It's that time of year to think about that time of year to think about Christmas, right? We all want to think about Christmas. Not really. We're barely into August, and we got a few months going here, but it is essential right now. We are the coordinators for Wreaths Across America, and we are the coordinators for the third largest cemetery here in Minnesota, Fort Snelling. Roughly 300,000 interments, 200,000 veterans under that, a little bit, just a tiny bit. And Wreaths Across America is a mission to honor and remember and to teach about those who have given us our liberties and freedoms that we have today. And they honor these amazing men and women by placing a wreath on their memorial at the gravesite. Now, here's the deal. No one's thinking about Christmas time in August. No one does it. Some people are weird and they do that mid-year thing where Christmas and July stuff. They need to up the meds on those folks. And we'll figure that piece out later. And I'm sorry if that's offensive to some people. I'm completely joking. But when I look at a wreath, I think Christmas. Well, it's time, folks. And we got a challenge that we're going to get out there and put out there for corporations and businesses. But it's a small donation to sponsor a wreath. It's $17. I kind of lay on this teeter-totter kind of concept. I struggle with buying wreaths, and I struggle with memorials because we've got living, walking, breathing memorials that have fought for our freedoms and liberties on earth now, and they need some of that support. I totally get it, but you know what? If this is kind of the thing that draws in the 90% of our country that doesn't, and hasn't committed to being part of that process, you're welcome. Come be part of it. This is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to grab you. This is the real life conversation. But remember, December 13th is Wreath Laying Day. It is when we are going to put our mark on the world, make sure that we're taking care of all of those that have given us the freedoms and the liberties that we have. And I'm going to throw in there, I do a terrible job of announcing the websites during the podcast time, but it's www.wreathsacrossamerica.org. And you're going to find the People's Patriot Project page in there as well. The post is up right now. And last but not finally, we got so many supporters out there and organizations. We got the amazing Joe Mish from the Temple Massager, who is going to give back. If you are helping, and again, he asked, well, we'll give the discount back to the People's Patriot Project. I'm like, brother, if there's a discount, why don't you chop it more and then turn around and give it to our amazing supporters, because they need to have this little tiny device in their life. And this is the Temple Massager. I know it sounds weird, but it does make your world a better place. It helps with all the things. I am not a scientist, and I'm not scientific enough to be able to tell you all the pieces and how it works and the chemistry and all the pieces. I'm not that guy. I could teach myself, but then I wouldn't get to do all these things. And so we'll get there. But if you put in the WeP3 code, you will get a 20% discount for the Temple Massager, and you'll be a better person because of it. We already said, and you need to know this, you can catch our show, We Got Your 6 at 6, on Wreaths Across America Radio, Sundays at 11 p.m. Eastern. Just search Wreath on iHeartRadio, Odyssey, or TuneIn apps. Or just go to wreathsacrossamerica.org/radio. And again, you can hear WeP3. I just said WeP3. You can hear WeP3. You got to go figure that out radio, and we'll do that piece here in a minute. But you can hear We Got Your 6 on Heroes Media Group, iTunes, Apple Tunes, Spotify. Oh, it's everywhere. And we're actually working with Odyssey. There's so many Audacities, and Auto somethings. I got a tech guy that's going to fix all that stuff for us. He's going to make it great and grand for us. I'm jabbering and I'm talking. I know I want to bring these guys in here. But mostly I'm stalling because I'm trying to do all the things at once. And so I want to make sure we get the Reads Across America stuff out there. And that's long enough advertisement for those guys. You guys ready? You ready for this? We've got these guys here. They're here. They've been there. They're patient. They're listening. Real quick, before we get rolling for the show, we've got Lee here with Ruck Digital. And he's already told me how to pronounce his name. And again, because I'm going left, right, upside down, this Mosler, right?
Right.
Yep, Mosler, because I want to say Mosler because now I'm second guessing myself with all the pieces. And I've called some people their names completely not right before, and there's chances are high tonight. Brandon Mills, who's a recording artist down in Nashville, for some reason I insisted in calling him Brandon Miller for the longest time, and he was very gracious and nice, and that's not even close. Well, it's kind of close, but we got Sean Russell here too. Again, Texas musician, Cutthroat Finches. They all doing their thing, man. It's awesome.
Yeah.
We're going to hear from these guys in a minute, but we do got to start our show off properly. I've been working on a video to get this done and do the justice right, but it's not quite done yet. But we do start our show with the Star Spangled Banner. If you are capable, please stand, politely remove your covers, and take the time to honor and respect our amazing flag, however you feel necessary. We have a lot of men and women in this country that have fought for that freedom, fought for that opportunity. You do you. And I ain't going to bark about it. There's ways I think it should be done, but we got our national anthem by Dave Bray. Boom. We got it. We're here. We're ready to roll. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here tonight. You're amazing. You're amazing.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me.
Lee, tell us who you are. Tell us about your service. And tell us about your mission, brother.
So, my name is Lee Mosler. I run a company here in Texas called Ruck Digital. We are a digital marketing agency where we kind of help a lot of people simplify their tech stack and try to make it as easy as possible for them to run their business instead of having to deal with all the technology behind their business. A lot of times, companies will piece together a lot of different programs to make their stuff work, kind of like we did in the military with duct tape. So my job is to kind of help simplify that and make it to where they don't have to worry about a fender blowing off in the middle of a convoy, which has happened countless times. I served in the Army. I was stationed out in Schofield Barracks, Hawaii. Technically, I was stationed at every Army installation in Hawaii. Kind of bounced around from unit to unit. During 2006, 2008, I got injured and was unable to continue moving forward. They ended up med boarding me out. And so since then, I've just been working on projects to help more people simplify their business, and yeah, fun stuff.
Derek Iozio, good to see you. Jeremy Daniels, good to see you. Now, okay, the world of technology and the military. That's
a bit of an oxymoron.
Yeah, that is. I mean, and I'm going to say, and it's going to date me a little bit, but when we were running comms for myself and I was a gun crewman for a 198 with the 34th Division Red Bulls, we were still rolling spool wire for comms. That's so we hadn't switched over by the time I left yet. And so I ETS in 02, which was in the process of everyone was, we were deploying the 34th Division Red Bulls, and it was, I'm not happy about those spaces, and I deal with some of those things on myself, but it was the right time and place for me to do what I needed to do. But I have no idea what it looked like after. I know if they were running wire in the desert, that would have been interesting. It would have been interesting because part of the job in running these thousands and thousands of feet of wire is concealing it, getting it in or off the ground, getting it under the ground. Do you know what they did?
Unfortunately, I never deployed, so
Okay.
I was part of the 8th Theater Sustainment Command. I kind of helped stand that up in Hawaii. Basically, everybody who moved through the Pacific side of it came through us.
Sure.
I was injured at the time, so I was supposed to have surgery, and my first sergeant actually pulled me off the plane right before we were supposed to go, so that kind of sucked. But I could only imagine what that would have been like out there. I mean, it's already hot enough digging cable. I mean, let's not even think about that one. That sounds like a really bad day.
Yeah.
There are some wire tricks I learned. For example, like we would have our 72-hour Cs where you'd have to stay up for 72 hours. And I was working as an RTO, and, it might be, that's a long time. But you shave a little piece of that wire off, put your finger on there. The fire mission comes in, right away that it's coming on. That's going to be there. So it's little tricks like that. Don't suggest it, but I learned it from, the old boots down the road, and it is what it is. Sean Russell.
Yeah.
Good to have you, brother. Do you know anything about wire?
I do not. Other than that we were still using, powder. The only wire we were using was for claymores. I was in the infantry in the Army, and did get really good at laying down wire for claymores. And that's about the only wire I think we had to lay out for anything. And it didn't always time and work quite like it was supposed to. But yeah, I was in the Army I served in the Army for 4 years. I was in the infantry, ended up going airborne. I was down at Fort Benning, Georgia when I started in 3rd Infantry Division. And I served during the 90s. So I was kind of caught up in the tail end of Desert Storm and got deployed back to Kuwait once, very briefly. It's like by the time we even landed, Saddam Hussein had basically turned and ran and pulled his forces back. So then it just became a mission to rescue the Bradleys off the Kitty Hawk and clean them up and put them back on again for a So, yeah, but went on. I tell people I try to go through. I made it through Special Forces selection and started going through that process in the Q course. And but that's where I discovered that I wasn't quite as GI Joe and quite as tough as I hoped I would be. Like some of those guys, that mental toughness, sleep deprivation for me is, like make me run and do an obstacle course, all that stuff's fine, but sleep and food deprivation, I'm horribly inept at functioning on a lack of sleep. I had a guy who used to dummy cord me to him when we'd be walking. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I could just fall over dead asleep. It was unbelievable. And so he'd had me dummy corded to him when we were marching through. It's like not cut out for this, Now I like pedicures. So
you like nice. Yeah. Nothing wrong with pedicures. Nothing wrong.
I like challenging the nail. I like challenging the nail tech with my feet. So.
Oh well, I guarantee you, I'm a challenge regardless. I don't take very good care of my feet, so that's So your mission is your musical prowess, and you're with Cutthroat Finches. You guys are at Fort Worth.
Yep.
Tell us what you guys are getting done.
Yeah, absolutely. We finished a 4th album. We had 3 studio albums we released on vinyl. We started doing we started recording in pieces during the pandemic and released a full album towards the end of it. And we're trying to do single releases and do it through streaming. I hate it. I don't really like the streaming single release, drip out campaign, which is typically what people are doing in music these days. But I started Cutthroat Finches. I'd been doing singer-songwriter stuff. I think I wrote my first song actually while I was on the DMZ in Korea. There was a guy who actually snuck a real crappy guitar onto the Bradley. I started playing and writing. And so my first song I wrote, was on the DMZ, and it was on a first solo record. But by the time I got about 10 years out, I think I started, just the stuff I was writing just didn't sound like singer-songwriter stuff. So I started, recording under a band name, and we've kept the band together for about 5 years, 7 years now. And, I like it the way it is. My niece plays drums and she's pregnant with twins. So we just had our last show for a bit. She's 6 months in now. Figure that's probably a good time to take maternity leave from rock band duty, or a reasonable time. But we just played our last. We had a huge show at the Omni Theater, which is it's like the Sphere in Vegas, but it seats about 250 people, a giant LED screen, and sold it out and just had a great show. It was really a cool event and a good one for her to remember as she goes through, and the sleeplessness of having twins, I'm sure that's coming for her. So
has she shared whether they keep beat with any of the stuff, the twins inside her? Do they
I wondered about that. I was just thinking, like, what does this sound like? Because when we played this last show, we all faced each other in a circle, and then the stage and the screen is up behind us and all around us. It's like a big 360 screen. But like we're just playing right at each other, amps facing each other. And I just thought, what does it sound like in there to be a twin baby inside of your mom's belly while she's playing drums? Like that snare drum has to be off-putting, to say the least. So, but she said she didn't get any weird reactions or nausea or anything. I was getting nauseous watching the screen move behind me because it was so big. I wasn't really ready for it. So I started feeling like I was getting car sick and had to look at my feet for a while. So.
Calling Me Out, Ignition, and Mirror Ball. Which one would you like to start off with tonight?
Let's start off with Ignition. That was one of the ones that we did on that. It was part of this Innovative Moon Disaster record that we did. It was about the Apollo 11 mission, and that the anniversary of Apollo 11 was just 2 weeks ago. The 56th anniversary, I believe, of the Apollo 11 mission. So that's why they had us there. So this was about imagining just can't wait till the next morning to kick off, kind of like a night before a jump. You're just all excited and amped up. So that's what it was about.
Still on the Cutthroat Finches with Ignition. That is Sean Russell and the Cutthroat Finches. Ignition. John.
Yes, sir.
What would you say your style of music is?
You know, I think I write stuff from, I mean, it's very American rock driven stuff, kind of the Americana rock stuff. I tell people it's, well, I think it's a fair criticism that, we have a sound or a tone we go for that's sounds like, if Oasis was a Texas band, it's just a big, heavy driving rock thing, not a metal or like a hard rock thing necessarily always, but I tell people it's kind of like twangy Tom Petty or mixed with a little Oasis Baby Child, I think that makes sense.
Tom Petty in there. I hear that. I do hear that. That's very accurately put. I
think I write a lot of, what I end up writing about is, I write a lot of love songs. I write a lot of songs that are about my wife and our relationship. I mean, it just bleeds in. Sometimes it's very direct, like Mirrorball's one that is very direct. It was just kind of a song written. She was actually working on our project with like tiny mirrors and putting it on different types of artwork and stuff that she was working on. But I was just thinking about the idea of just reflecting light, and because I'm always the one on stage, and then and I always thought, it's like, I wish everybody could feel like it's like to have someone reflecting back your words and singing every word at every show. And then there's other songs that it's just kind of woven in where there's just some lines in it that are about us, that are about something that we've related to, but it's almost always there. If I called out every time that I had a song that had lines in it that were about her, our relationship tied into it, it'd be redundant. But I write that stuff, and then I write snarky, smart assy stuff, that it's just like taking a punch, it's something that I just think like it's I guess it's you'd call like satirical in a way, where I'm talking about something going on in society that I wish would change, or I wish would get better, or I wish was different, and trying to find a way to express it. And it's hard because you're writing a 3-minute song, it's like you're trying to express a big idea, but that's kind of the range of what I write. It's very polar opposites, something, political, satire, social commentary, or love, relationships, and people songs, and not a lot in between.
Real quick, and this always flows better when there's more people. The Andrea's here, Jonathan's here, but real quick, we're going to run with the pieces of the news real quick. This week is August, actually, is Anti-Terrorism Awareness Month, designed to raise awareness not only for the threat of terrorism, but to also encourage regular vigilance and communication to report potential threats. Throughout the month, there is a series of articles highlighting key points for increased awareness of goals, objectives, and measures. If you see something, say something. August 4th, U.S. Coast Guard is U.S. Coast Guard birthday. Happy birthday to you. We don't need any more of that. And then August 7th is Purple Heart Day. And a little bird, maybe it was a cutthroat finch, I don't know, but a little bird told me it might be Mr. Mosler's birthday tomorrow. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah. I turned the big 40.
Happy birthday. Really weird kind of piece. This is birthday week in the Peterson household. This weekend we held the 25th annual Peterson Cookout for the 25th and 24th / figure that math out, folks. My son was born in 2000. My daughter was born in 2001. August 2nd, August 3rd, and so happy birthday to those guys. They allow me to do these things just almost on the same level as the veterans and first responders allow us to have our freedoms daily. Real quick, also, this is our call to action moment. All of us have a device in our possession somewhere. Sometimes they're linked to the cord, sometimes they aren't. Everyone has one of these. We are a working group. If you are here and if you are listening, I ask that you take the time to do this because it does make a difference. I want you to get into your conversation threads, whether it's any of your social medias. I want you to type in just thinking about you or just checking with you, because this segment is called Check Your Six. The first thing in Check Your Six is you got to check you. You're out you're doing the combat, you're doing the thing, your boots on the ground, you're making a difference, you're out doing you. And sometimes life gets heavy, tough, and starts to weigh down. Sometimes those layers get on you. You got to do that battle check real quick. What are your needs? If you're not in that space and if you're not in the right state of mind, then reach out to a battle, reach out to an organization, reach out to someone. I have this conversation regularly, and no one takes me to task on it, but I personally don't think splattering it on social media is the right place to do it. That's my opinion. Here's the caveat to that, because when you do it on social media, we're going to find you. And when we find you, we're going to come get you. And when we get you, we're going to put our paws on you. And when we put our paws on you, we're going to figure out how we can fix all the things that need to be not fixed, but supported at that time. Because we don't fix our veterans and first responders, we support. And the other part is not all of them are broken. We're not all broken. We just might have a moment, might have a minute. I know that our men and women are running into burning buildings while the majority, 90% of our country is running away from those burning buildings. I know that our men and women are sitting out on red asphalt, holding the hands of those taking their last breath, while others are, comfortable with their slippers on and drinking their Mai Tais. And that's okay. I know that we have many million, roughly 3 million men and women a year that have chosen to go dig a battle hole rather than making sure they're at every dinner table to celebrate every holiday and birthday and all those pieces. And so we got people walking out their front doors every day not knowing what they're going to return, because we got people out there thinking that they can shoot weapons at our first responders, all of our first responders. I mean, it's not just police; it's our fire and our EMS. So you're gonna take, after you check yourself and after you've reached out to those that you need to reach, you're gonna say, "Hey, checking with you." You're gonna copy that and you're gonna send it to 6 of your brothers and sisters. Now, here's the deal: we are veteran forward and first responder forward. That's our mission. That's what we do. But because of the time and place in our life, in our world, that message is good for anyone in your contact list. Take care of those people. Reach out. We are built to have relationships. We are built to be involved with other people. That is what it's all about. Make sure that you reach out. I do challenge you to take one of those relationships. All of us have that. Your brain's going to start spinning right now. And it's like, but we've all got that one relation that ended up sideways for some reason. Might have been your lack of investment in the relationship. It might have been their lack of investment in the relationship. It might have just been time. It might just been a thing. It is a thing. And it can be, we're not asking you to do ex-husbands and wives and girlfriends and boyfriends and stuff like that. But I mean, if you want to be bold and go down that path, you do what you got to do. Bottom line is we're going to reach out to 6 people that know we're thinking about them, that we care, and we're interested in making a difference. That's our call to action. Check your 6. Lee, what is the vision for Ruck Digital? What are you going to get done with this thing?
The vision, honestly, is it's one of those things where it changes over time because technology changes over time. And so as we try to adjust for certain aspects, new technologies come out that kind of get in the way. Fun, but it's the puzzle pieces that really it makes the difference in this. To give you an idea, 2 years ago, we were building manual automations for companies, and now we're using AI to do a lot of it. We're being able to take small businesses that can't afford these massive budgets that a giant company can, and we're getting them to compete on the same level with AI. So that's something that has really only changed over the last couple of years. Now we get to say, okay, AI is becoming more and more prominent in our lives. How can we use that to help small businesses grow? Restaurants, brands, creators. We work with some really great clients that honestly, if it weren't for us, they would have no presence at all. And that's what I love to do. We like to just go in and work with them and know that their brand, their business, their company is going to be up and running at all times. That's the vision. Make sure that everybody's always up and running, and making sure that they don't have to worry about is their system going to be there. That's our job.
In 1998, I started a job in Cody, Wyoming for a company called Coulter Bay Computers. And we did web design using DOS code, C++, and our dial-in network was on we had 20 of these dial-in little modems in the back room there was only 20 of them, and you could service, and you would service the community of 12,000 people because your hopes were no more than 20 people in town were going to be on the internet at one time. And so that was kind of how it ran. And when people said, I kept getting booted, you'd have to go buy another modem and daisy chain all the pieces. And I couldn't tell you one smidgen of how any of that stuff works anymore. I was just I spent about 3 years doing it, and I was just no, that was enough. But we did some kind of cool things back in the day.
It's not that much different today as it was back then. It's just the switches are faster and the bandwidth is faster. Way more bandwidth. We can get a lot more out of copper.
You can ask Google anything. You can ask Google anything. You can figure it out. But that's why we got Lee around. Lee's going to be doing. So that's our announcement. We got to make this. This will make this official. Boom. Lee Mosler, this last board meeting with the People's Patriot Project, was voted in as our technology director for the People's Patriot Project. And so welcome on board. Thank you. We planned you to be part of the show before that took place. And Lee's been dealing with some of the behind the scenes stuff that we got to deal with and some of the weird nuances that come with people that the best intentions. That's all I'll say. We're done. I'm dropping it. What's the phrase? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. I mean, that
is the phrase.
Everyone wants to do the right job, but maybe they don't know how to. Maybe it isn't. So, thanks for being on board, Lee. We appreciate you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
We're excited to watch you grow, and hopefully we grow, and everyone else grow. John Russell.
Yeah.
Tell us about what you guys are getting done with cutthroat finches. We're getting ready to have babies.
Yeah. Well,
we're taking a little hiatus.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, I want to keep that together because it's become we're such a tight knit kind of like group, and the way it sounds whenever we've tried to, when people have filled in, I mean, it can work, but it's kind of something I want to preserve. I've also still kind of kept some of my solo project stuff. That's what I've been working on. And one of the other tracks I sent you is from that. And that gives me an opportunity to dive into more folky country, kind of side of things. And just really experiment, outside of it, what I do with cutthroat finches. So I've kind of split off my writing into those two main vehicles. But as kind of seeing this coming and just the type of music I was writing, we've got some shows lined up for fall, some smaller regional festival stuff, and then I'm working on launching a solo album that I wanted to get it out by November, but the press on vinyl takes so long that it'll be a January release. But we press our records here in North Dallas at a place called Hand Drawn Records. And it's just, the backup, the demand for it is pretty crazy. So, but I'm it's funny when I was reading about this, when you invited me to this and I read up on what you guys are doing, a big part of what I'm doing over the last year is honestly trying to reconcile and reconnect with because once I started connecting with Operation Encore and other things like that, which I'd be glad to explain a little bit about that if for your listeners, because it's a great program. People have been amazing to reconnect, but it also makes me realize now I'm becoming this spokesperson for veterans, and I really wasn't necessarily prepared for. I could talk to veterans about veteran stuff. I'm not great at translating it to civilians to when they ask me questions. And I've had some really good friends that are good interviewers, and they try to draw me out. They're trying to help me come up with a better way to elevator pitch it, and also in a way that it's like somebody will ask me we've got 8 seconds to commercial, but what would you like people to know about veterans? And I'm just like, I have 8 seconds. How about if I solve the problems of the economy and world hunger in the next 8 seconds too? Already, it's hard. It's hard. It's a responsibility that I want to take on, and I want to do better, and I want to connect my veteran buddies. I've lost some friends post, getting out that as I found out, and some to suicide, and dealt with that, and then other friends just dying and dealing with my own guilt of just a strange survivor guilt mentality of, what if I'd have stayed in? What if I'd have done something different? And, it's just something that when I get those feelings, and then when my brother, by the way, my youngest brother was an airborne ranger. He served through Afghanistan into the early 2000, a couple of campaigns in Afghanistan and Iraq. He's still working for the government, but it was just, then you deal with realizing back home, people are so unaware of even what we're doing, what's going on. And it's not like you want to complain and cry about it. It's I still believe what my drill sergeant said, your country, as soon as you get paid, your country doesn't owe you anything. You know what I mean? That's it. They always had this mentality of don't complain. When payday comes, we're even, and so it's such a weird road to kind of navigate, because it's if I'm talking to civilians on a news program or some type of interview type thing, they don't even understand the context. I'd have to explain the context, even what I'm talking about. So I'm working on that, and I like what you guys are doing, because we were talking about it this weekend with some songwriters that I met through Warrior Song, which again is Zach Brown's camp. He offers up to veterans every year for a variety of things, 9 months out of the year, whether it's drug addiction, physical disabilities you're dealing with, or just want to songwrite. The Warrior Song Project. I met, 20 some odd vets, and we've kept in contact with each other. We just got together this weekend, but what we've all realized is we all are terrible at that aspect of sharing the part of the story that we can share. Like, what do you say? We can talk to each other about it all, but talking to the outside world, like, how do you write it into a song and tell just a little bit, just enough to kind of nudge the needle of their awareness maybe, or something, So we're struggling with that. So I'm paying attention to like your mission and what you guys are doing and the stories you're trying to get out there. And then trying to find somebody to answer better, like because it's always the same question. What do veterans really care about? What do you think would help improve veterans? It's like, that's a long one, and what I would say, I don't speak for all veterans, but now I feel this obligation to make sure I'm answering in some way that respects, that aspect. So that's where I am really, like, on the ground level, like something that really I'm dealing with in real time,
Because we had a musician on last weekend that it was he's not a veteran, veteran family in this, and he wants to be part of that message as well. And again, we're all busy. We all have to live our lives. We all want to be part of something. But I've been coming up with this concept recently where it requires a video, and we got some people that can do it. And again, but they want to get paid, which I have zero problems with that. But on my school teacher pay during the day, it doesn't really get me to do real lofty things. But it'll happen. But there's a lot of people out there that scream, "Yeah, I support veterans and first responders," and I'm like, "Yeah, really? Tell me what you do." Your voice isn't quite good enough. I mean, I'm sorry, that might be offensive for some people, and that's not intended to be offensive. And again, there's no one that I know personally that when they went into service, they were holding their hand out saying, "Hey, now take care of me, now take care of me, now take care of me." Here's the caveat. Caveat is these young men and women who got into service at the age of 17 to 21. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you ever taken time to look at the pictures of the Iwo Jima. It's one of my. There are tiny little boys in those boats.
Oh yeah.
One of our 102-year-old veteran just passed this last 2 weeks. Papa here in Minnesota. He's a TikTok personality. He lied. 98 years ago, 88 years ago. And he said, yeah. And he went into service as a 14-year-old. I don't know. I can look at a 14-year-old and say, you know what? You ain't old enough yet. Yeah. But so these guys made too. So, and again, none of these guys and women said, you know what? I need something. But at the same time, when they're hurt, when there are things that aren't clicking, when they are not being supported, when they are hungry, when they don't have a home, you know what? They didn't go and work for the six-figure job right off the bat. They were working. I think my first check when I was in my monthly first check was a little over $600 back in the day. Who can make it on $600? Again, not complaining. I not wanted to do it. I loved every moment of my service, but at the end, and again, I mean, I don't go to the VA. People that say you need to go use your, and I get it. I understand. I've got good insurance through my work, this and that. You know, I'll take care of me. I don't want to use a system if I don't have to. But some of our service members need to use the service that are provided, the benefits. And you know what? It shouldn't be a dog and pony show just to get the help you need to. It shouldn't. There should be zero hungry people in America anywhere, but our veterans and our first responders should never, ever, ever, should not even be a concept. There should be an open kitchen in any community where they can walk in and get a hot meal right now without a question asked. That's my opinion. Because you know what? These guys are running into, when you accidentally start your freaking house on fire, these people are running into that building to make sure they got Fluffy and your 12-year-old and everyone else out of that building, and they might save some of your personal effects as they're doing it. So, I mean,
yeah,
Sean, you're gonna get me all fired up, man. And then when you,
well, no, you're right. It's almost like for me, it's like I get stirred up about it because I realize, again, it's like people are. What I sometimes see, and again, I'm not complaining. I didn't get in, like you said. I didn't get in because I needed everybody's pat on the back or because I thought the world owed me something when I got out either, But it's disheartening, like thinking like I'm writing a song right now to give you an example, and it's almost like I don't want to crack this bottle open, but it's open now, and. The song's about watching a friend of mine. We were at a songwriting event, and it like he nodded off, fell asleep. So I was writing. There's three of us writing. He fell asleep. He was kind of watching and kind of seeing what we were doing, and nods off, starts immediately snoring. Very loud. And then within 15 minutes, he's talking in his sleep, and he looked miserable. And all I thought of was like, I have 3 kids, and I just thought, man, if any parent could imagine their kid going through what he's going through in his head right now in that dream. You can hear what he's talking about. Like he's thinking he's trying to find somebody or something is what it sounded like. It was very troubling, and it's very regular for him, and it's like, he's not really suffering like at a level of what he's considering, PTS in some way that's outward or manifesting itself necessarily, but it's there. It's like, this is just a guy who's, functioning with some trauma. And that's the best you could hope for. Like when you're 20 years, doing what he did, like that's actually getting out pretty clean, I think, My brother served. I look at like as he gets older and some of these veterans age, it's just hard once you start talking about it to not get kind of angry about it because you want people to pay attention. And you're like, I know you want to thoughts and prayer this, and I know you want to wear you're like, when you ask them, it's like, oh yeah, I got this camouflage jersey for a football game to watch, to support veterans. It's like, man, the yellow ribbons and all that stuff, symbolism's great. I mean, I appreciate it, but I think for a lot of people, it just helps them feel like it's okay that the rest of the year I just forget about all this and have no idea. Most people don't even know the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day. They haven't really nailed that one down yet. So it's frustrating, and I don't want to. How do you say that without sounding like you're complaining and whining? You can't. And in a song, you can only do so much. Everybody can't be Bob Dylan, So, so it's like. I'm trying to navigate that. Like, how do you pair a story with just a little part, just a little glimpse into the window? So I wrote the song, about watching this guy sleep, and just like maybe your soul's trying to find its way home or something, hopefully one day your soul and you'll feel like a whole person again here, is what I decided to just kind of nail it down to. But it's hard once you start talking about it and thinking about it and you incorporate it into your music or into some public facing thing for it not to, the way people talk about it, sometimes frustrating. That's all, so I'm figuring that out, but I put it off all these years since I got out. And now since getting rejoined and reconnected, I'm reconnected to that feeling also of not wanting to let down my brothers and sisters that are veterans and have served, you know what I mean? And I feel that like I'm ready to take that on. I want to take that on, so.
Exciting. That's exciting. So we field a lot of questions sometimes, and you're right. When does it sound like whining? When doesn't sound like whining? Again, the majority of our men and women aren't walking around with their hands out. We have a system that requires our veterans that need support to fill out a form, and we've got a veteran that needs tires for his truck and needs routers and all that, and we're working on it. And then out of nowhere, he did a buddy check on me, and he's like, "How you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm doing good, brother. How you doing?" Well, he also wanted to vent, and he was feeling pretty nasty as a father because it was one of his children's birthday that weekend, and he couldn't even afford to go get ice cream. And it's after the fact at that point, I'm like, bud, these are the things for sure I can take care of right now, because that's a simple thing. I can do ice cream. Not that I want to do ice cream. I mean, but we can do that. And again, there's no level. I can't feel guilty because my boots are on the ground. I am out making a difference. I am out progressively pushing, being tip of the spear, trying to make a difference, this and that. But at the same time, I'm like, I got 2 kiddos this weekend with birthdays, 25, 24, I already shared that. And they didn't go without anything. I'm going to tell you that right now. I mean, they probably got more than they needed. Now, what's really crazy, my children's gift they like having from me is to cook some off-the-cuff food for them. So we did the barbecued ribs. We did the blazing scorpion chili, this amazing corn dip that is just out of this world, which I will share with anybody if you guys want to come have some, and some mac and cheese. And then next week, of course, when you have two of them, it's not a 2-day birthday, it's a week birthday kind of thing. And so, yeah. But there's a little note in my head. It's like, we just need to know, folks, if we know, we can help. And it sucks because sometimes you end up being on the other side of that conversation. It's like, what haven't you done? I mean, I'm sorry. And this is me having a real conversation. We got to have the real conversation. Do you smoke? Do you drink? Do you do this? Do you do that? Why can't you afford this for the people in your life? All those pieces do count up and they build up. And I don't want you to lose all of it. We have some veterans here in Minnesota right now we're helping, and they're in a treatment program, and they've got all the stuff, and I go and I deliver food, and they're standing outside tugging on the heaters. And I'm just like, I'm going out of my way to get you food. I can't get into this. So I'm going to let you know where I go and where I shouldn't go. And I'm like, how much can we expect people to give up?
Yeah.
And of course, I would hope that they would give up their smoking before they worried about food in their belly. But I mean, that's, again, we're here to support. And these are things I don't have in my life. I don't smoke.
Yeah.
I have a bevy now and then. And but I don't have to give those things. And so the real conversations, zero judgment on my side, folks. If you're hearing it and you're like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm the guy that will go into every corner and flush it out and figure out what the answer and solution and the problem is. Yeah. So that's where we're at. Mm-hmm. Mirrorball calling me out.
Let's go with Mirrorball. Let's go with a love song about wishing that everybody could get. I could give back some of that shine back to my wife that she likes to throw me on when I'm on stage.
Any lead into that one?
Yeah, I would say that when I wrote this, good songs are not written or rewritten. I feel like all my best work is stuff that I threw up and almost gave up on it, or it's a song that I wrote in about 2 minutes and it just blows out like something that happens in a bathroom, for instance. Just real fast and furious. But there's some of the songs, like when I rewrite them and I take the time to really dive in, and it's like that right balance of something really personal, but also something relatable. But this one I made very intentionally purposeful. My wife was really, her true calling in life was to be a gunslinging, jet pilot, go-kart, racer. And her daddy kind of brought her up that way. So I decided to highlight some of her amazingness in the song.
John Russell and the Cutthroat Finches with Mirrorball.
Sometimes I can't seem to find my place. Sometimes I don't recognize my face. If this is the game, then I wanna play it. It's your move, honey. I'm just sitting here waiting, sitting here waiting. I wanna be a mirror ball, reflecting your shine. I'll spread your light around.
That is Sean Russell.
Yep.
Cutthroat
I gotta say,
features
I really
Miracle.
like that one.
Thank you. Thank you.
It took me to a place, the Wooden Wheel Roller Skate Palace in Casper, Wyoming. Baked cheese nachos, playing foosball more than I roller skated. Little Galaga in between.
Yes.
But there was a little sweet thing named Cody back in the day, and it was just like, she taught me how to skate backwards, and I'm thinking mirror ball and little Stevie Nicks. I got that in there kind of feel. It's
Yeah, it's
totally.
funny you mentioned that. It's funny because when we did the album release for this, we did it at a roller skate rink. We played right in the middle of the rink and ran all the cables through the ceiling to this little board, and it was awesome. And it was for that exact reason. That was, she started roller skating a couple of years ago and drugged me into it. When I was a kid, it was the same thing. I was like, when I was in second grade, I was like, man, if I can just outskate all these other loser guys, all the girls are going to like me. And I'd just be sweating, stinking, going in circles, just burning around the track. It didn't work out for me, I hoped, so. But now that's appreciates my roller skating finally. So
every Saturday morning from like 9 o'clock till 2 o'clock every day, we were out in the rink, and I got to that crossover skate, fancy stuff. That's good stuff, man.
We have Thursday night BYOB at the Silver Wheel Skating Rink in Fort Worth, right outside of Carswell, literally the old Carswell Air Force Base. There's an old rink there they redid, and it's BYOB on Thursday adult night. And it's like, boy, what a great idea. Get middle-aged people drinking and going roller skating. And what could go wrong with that?
Oh, Lordy. Is that part of the some kind of insurance scam or something where the insurance company's promoting that, and they want everyone to show up?
Yes, the orthopedic surgeons out there just taking names,
Great song. Frank the Myth, one of our author people, veterans out there, commented, great stuff, got it in there.
Awesome. Appreciate that. Thanks, Frank.
Lee, what's the next big thing for Ruck Digital, and what are you going to get done, brother?
So I guess we're moving into the latter part of this year. 2026 is really where we're going to start focusing more on the individual, your content creators, your personalities, helping them understand where they can use technology to grow without actually increasing the amount of time that they're spending online. Hey, Sean here. Sean wants to make incredible music, and so far I've heard 2 songs, and I love both. I'm gonna have to go subscribe. But I'm sure Sean doesn't want to stay on his website and social medias and everything like that. So we just start figuring out how we can, make that happen. And that's what our next step is we're going to start running these small kind of like races. We're going to call them rucks, just like when we were in the Army, you do a 1K, a 3K, 5K, you start building up to those 10Ks, those 15Ks, those massive pieces. We're just going to start running those so that people can understand what it takes to get their brand out there, be consistent, and then hopefully they start seeing a return on their investment. They start seeing money roll in. Money's never the goal. It's never the reason why we do that, but it certainly helps to keep everything moving forward.
Yeah.
What if we had a place to put all that stuff, that information?
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Gosh, interesting.
Only.
I think things happen for a reason. They just do.
I agree.
The right place, the right time, the right vision, the right brain trust. Sometimes, and sadly and unfortunately, I do think our men and women in service are very independent. They really want to do things on their own. So sometimes when they've got an idea in the space and the thing that they like, oh no, I want to do it my way. I'll be honest. When I started the People's Patriot Project, I started in 2012. I didn't do diddly with it till 2018 because I didn't want anyone to steal my ideas.
Yep.
And we were losing 6,000 people, men and women, a year to suicide because I was worrying about not taking care of. And I'm like, this is asinine. We got to get out there. We got to be that lure in this tackle box, and we just, regardless of who takes our ideas, and you know what? And so the answer and solution to that is you just got to be in front. You got to move. You got to do the best. You got to put the work into it. You can't sit on your heels. And if you want to be successful, you got to do it. And if you're not doing anything, you're part of the problem. Boom. Hear that?
Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely.
How many hats are in the arsenal, John?
How many hats?
Yeah.
So let's just say I've played a lot of shows for hats, that people have realized they can sucker me into an in-store. It's like, this is a Stetson I got down playing during South by. And I've got several Gorham brothers back there. And then there's a hat company called Kemosabe. They're out of Aspen, Colorado. And they make a beaver pelt hat that's really nice. And so they come in town for the stockyard. So I have like 2 pairs of pants and 12 hats and 2 pairs of boots, so it's a ridiculous collection. And basically I have all band shirts from different people I've swapped with. It's the most childish wardrobe, collection that you could possibly have. For someone my age, they should have better clothes than I have.
People are constantly asking for WeP3 t-shirts, and it's like, yeah, if I didn't give them all away already, I would get to them. And so I don't like the t-shirt world. They're way more expensive than I'd like them to be. But is that one of your favorites right there? Because it looks sharp, dude. It's sharp. Not everyone can pull off every hat. I'm going to say that right now.
Well, when you get it's that, or look at this big old Charlie Brown melon head. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see
good,
that,
brother.
That
Your hat, that is right. That you accessorized well. It's a good looking hat on a good looking head, and you nailed it.
If somebody asked me about it, I was like, you just have to commit, and you have to go someplace that isn't your normal place, so you wear it. Because like when I started playing music in Fort Worth, nobody really knew me out here as I moved out. So it's like I just started wearing hats, and I just committed to the bit until everybody now. It's like if I'm not wearing a hat, they don't actually know who I am. Like if I come in a baseball cap, like to some of the venues around here, they have no idea who I am. And especially if my wife's not with me, then they don't even recognize me. It's really funny because I realize that it's such a distinguished thing, or such a thing I've created for myself, that they don't recognize me without it, so I've committed to the bit.
We've got a veteran musician out of Nashville. There's a bunch there, but one specifically, I won't say his name because I think I made him mad one day. I've never seen him with a hat ever, and he showed up on the show one night. I'm like, what are you doing wearing a hat? I mean, it's like, I didn't ask it that way. I did ask it, and he hasn't called me back since. I was like, I really wasn't trying to beat you up about your hat, but I never seen you with one. So, and it looked good on him, but he was wearing cut off sleeves and wearing the t-shirt, and it's just like, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Cutthroat Finches. Where are you guys going? So we're taking a hiatus.
Yeah.
You already talked about the vision.
Yeah.
What do you want to get out of all of it?
I remember it is a matter of just wanting to be heard. I think like songs for me, in music for me growing up was, like every phase of my life, age wise, I ascribe like what I was listening to at that time, like my Def Leppard phase, my Asia, April Wine, early Ozzy and Kiss phase, all that. And then all the way through, like then getting into like new wave and kind of punk music and Skateboard Kid and junior high and all that stuff. And then high school, more pop stuff and making mixtapes for people and all that stuff, that I did. And then, so it's like, but songs just meant something to me. It identified a time in my life. And I'd still want to write those songs that people, tied to that phase of the life, that are meaningful to them in their life. And it just feels like, so it's a matter of being heard. I mean, for me, ultimately, like career wise, at least a publishing deal would be great. I don't know the traditional label deals nowadays, especially for somebody like me. I even if I got signed to a major label, it'd be hard for me to imagine quitting my day job for it, because even people that you think are making it, like making it is a real relative term. It's making it means you're not starving, but you don't have medical benefits, and you've got a van with maybe a little more comfortable seat to drive in. I mean, that's making it. It's like there's almost no middle class in music, anymore. A way to make a living and support your family doing original music, really. I think you could do it easier doing covers and tribute band stuff, because there's definitely more of an appetite for it. But we're competing so often for just those few seconds to get people to listen and hear what's there. So it's kind of like, if I can break through and have that traction, just to feel. I remember seeing songs break live. Like, I remember seeing the guys in Breakfast at Tiffany's, that song Breakfast at Tiffany's, that everybody can sing along to. I was like, that was a band from Dallas. And I remember seeing them when they had just written that. They were students at North Texas. And all of a sudden they would play that song, and the reaction from people was so, like, it was so strong. Their reaction was so strong. It was like this sweeping feeling. You could feel like everybody wanted to hear them play the song immediately again, just start it over. They were like, that was unbelievable. I can't believe you guys wrote this, And I could see Drowning Pool when they released Bodies Hit the Floor, like that hit out of Dallas. And it's like, seeing that reaction from people was crazy. Like, people just couldn't get enough of it. When you hear something that's that big and you're at this club with 50 people and you're like, this song is going to be huge. Like, how are you not? That's what everybody says. How are you not all right? So, like, having that experience, that would be amazing. And I've had, a few times where people have told me, it's also funny what people think your songs are about. But just, the fact that my songs are played and a part of people's lives is pretty amazing experience. So I feel like that's the biggest thing, the writing part of it, and having those songs that really hit big, make a lasting impression. More than the money situation, it's just having it meaningful to people the way it was meaningful to me growing up. I think kids too are very disconnected and don't have the identity that we had growing up. They don't know who they are in the same way that I feel like I did, and it's like they're searching for an identity, and they're finding really terrible things to attach themselves to that are weak and flimsy and don't last a lot of times. I know that sounds like old man talk, but I think kids are missing out by not being connected to music the way we were. They see a streaming thing, they have no idea who the band is, where they came from. It's just another song, So I had to go buy it or steal it from my dad's record collection like a gentleman. So,
well, to your point,
an 8-track or a cassette?
It was vinyl with my dad on a crappy RCA player, but it worked good enough to hear it. So,
yeah. What were you saying, Lee?
Oh, I was gonna say, it's like Sean said earlier. Most of these artists nowadays, they're putting out singles. You're not having to listen to an entire album where you get to kind of hear what like, there are some great bands out there that the story was built through the entire album. It wasn't just built off of one song. And so I think that's a lot of it today, is you don't get that anymore. Bowling for Soup is out of Dallas, and their song kind of just blew up, and I remember seeing them at just a little club right before they blew up, and it was like, wow, this is really good. And then all of a sudden it's like on the radio everywhere. And I didn't know if that was just like a Dallas thing or not, but apparently it was nationwide. They kind of hit it out of the park with theirs. And so I think, to your point, they don't really have that. They're not really getting that full experience of songs anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of people who say they're music fan. I mean, I tell people this, and this again sounds like somebody complaining from the inside or something, but we've kind of become this. I think streaming has made us sort of a box wine, drinker. Like, there's real wine drinkers that really know wine, and then there's 90% of the rest that are box wine drinkers. Like, they know a few things, and it's very hard because, like, we grew up with radio as a filter. Like, so we knew the good stuff that was on the radio. We had a radio station we liked, and again, we identified with. But it's like the algorithm, the goal of the algorithm that we're all subscribing to is just to keep us listening. So it's going to play the safe bet for us. Like, if it knows, like, for instance, you hear Mirrorball and they know you're a Fleetwood Mac fan, they're going to weave in Fleetwood Mac and bring you back to the stuff you already know and already familiar with, because it will keep you listening. They're not going to push you outside of your comfort zone. You might turn it off and close the app. So it's dumbing down. The algorithm is dumbing down our music taste. whether we realize it or not. And unless you're actively fighting against it, it is happening. And that's why people, I think, are disconnected. I like to ask people, like, they'll like to tell me what a music fan they are. I'm like, and I just like, what's your favorite local bands? And they always name, like here in Fort Worth, for instance, like 3 local bands that are all tribute guys or all cover band guys. Like, yeah, but I'm talking about somebody who writes music here. Like, is there one band you can even name that's an original band here? Say you're a big music fan, And so I would challenge people that they're missing out, but I also would challenge musicians to find better ways to reach people. Like, you're doing Lee, you're doing digital music. I mean, distribution, but it's like trying to reach people where they're at is always the trick. And instead of trying to get them to come out, I've spent years trying to get people to come out to bars. And then it's like, as you move along in the local music scene, when they want you to be there as long as they can, they'll say stuff like doors at 9. People get in there. I just finished sound checking. They think they missed me. It's like, no, that was just sound check. We're not going on until 11. So people are like, they got to sit there and try to stay semi-sober for 3 more hours until we finally are going to play our show. It's like, that's not everybody's bag of, that's not really everybody's bag, and they're not going to enjoy that. But if I could, I'd rather play at a grocery store, like in the meat aisle,
Familiarity as well. And you kind of noted on that already. We did an event a couple of years ago. We brought an amazing artist out of Texas up. We brought an amazing artist out of Nashville up. And then tonight we started the show with JT and the Gunslingers. And JT was the closer only because he couldn't get there on time. And I don't do closers, openers, and stuff. But the thing is, people don't know our veteran and first responder musicians. That's a big piece. We did another event here in Minnesota. We brought 6 musicians from across the country in, and everyone was like, well, we don't even know who these guys are. And I'm like, you're right. Do you like music? And that's a tough sell for people. I mean,
it is.
If I threw out, I got Cody Johnson coming, I mean, you'll sell 20,000 tickets right now. Now, he's selling out bigger stadiums than that, but I mean, he's a guaranteed 20. And because people will know, if you drop Jelly Roll or Post Malone and then these names, sorry, I mean, just because you're on here, Sean Russell and the Cutthroat Pinches. I mean, you're going to get your people that know you. And again, the network, I would like to get where our network is more familiar with each other as well. The music network, only in the fact that, I scratch my back, you scratch mine. We get on the stage in the same time. We play for a night. I can get my people there. You get your people there. We get everyone's people there. And we self-promote or the team promote. But everyone's trying to feed their families at the same time, too, because I'd rather have a gig than hand it out to 5 other people.
Yeah.
Back to the familiarity conversation. Our Texas musician is there. Our Nashville musician is there. And then JT and the Gunslingers. The 2 out-of-state musicians play, and they're playing their originals.
Yeah.
And people are moving. We are at a veteran event, and some of it is veteran-based music.
Yeah. Right.
JT gets up there. He does an original. No one's moving, and he starts covering the classics. All of a sudden, the people are in front of the stage. They're dancing. They're moving, literally taking their clothes off. We have some of those pictures. It is what it is. It's not promoting events is not the worst job on the face of the earth all the time, but it's just like, and he knows those pieces. He knows people want to hear the classics. People want to hear the stuff that they're familiar with.
Yeah.
Then toss in.
Yeah.
So we're working on a mission where we're bringing A-list musicians, and the A-listers are up there, and then in between the A-listers, we throw in Sean Russell and the Cutthroat Pinches. So you get heard. It's kind of a captive audience, so to speak, but at the same time, it's affordable. And the next time they hear, Sean Russell and the Cutthroat Pinches, are like, oh, I just kind of know who they are. And they they played with A, B, and C.
People love when they find their own thing. I mean, seriously, like I compared it to wine, but it's like I remember I never really cared about wine until I had a really great one time, and then I bought all I could find of that wine, and I haven't really ever drank it since, because like I found this thing that felt like it was something I found that was my own thing. And when people have that experience with music, with a local band, and they feel like they've discovered something nobody else knows. I love that. I love being that guy who knew, like, growing up with music, I was the first one that knew about this new album from whoever. And I do agree totally with what Gene's saying there. It's a fickle, but I do try really hard also to try to fill in a few covers that really sort of convey that is that familiarity, that entry point. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I want to be, if I think this audience will understand a Tom Petty song and then might hear my music in that vein, putting that in there kind of gives them an entry point to understand what I'm doing and kind of a familiarity kind of associate, And so I try to do that. I'm very aware of that, but I am trying harder to meet people where they're at and find different venues and resources. Like I said, roller skate rinks, Omni Theater. I've got some other events like that coming up where, I'm trying to find I love doing house shows. Like when I come into town, because you can really tell stories about the songs. You're conveying a whole idea in 3 minutes, but the story behind the song is a lot of time what endears the song to people, And again, those are things that when you used to open up a record, album or even a CD jacket, and you're reading through and you're finding out all this stuff about this band, and you got MTV that actually played music videos, So you just kind of get this encompassing, this artist is this bigger thing, and it's this whole thing, and then you identify with it. But it's great when you discover it. To me, it just feels like I found this thing in my town, and it's awesome.
What was your first album you ever got in life?
It was the Kiss Destroyer record. And honestly, I got it 100% because the album, some older kids I knew were listening to Kiss, but the album cover was so cool looking. It's like the four of them, and it's a painting, and they're standing on top of a burning trash heap in their full gear and and they're all just, hands up in the air, rock and roll and everything like that. And honestly, the album is not really that great, but but it looks so cool that I was like, that's it. That was my first album.
Lee, what was your first album that you remember getting?
Please say it was Wham, please.
No, I'm not that old.
Wow.
No, to be honest, I don't remember my first album. I can tell you the first album I bought, but I don't remember the first album I ever got. First album I ever bought was Breaking Benjamin, their opening, or I guess their self-titled album. I listened to it. We were driving to Colorado, and I listened to it probably the entire way, front to back, even coming back home. And that's a 14-hour drive. And so it was just, I love the sound of it. And in fact, to this day, it's still one of my favorite albums.
Yep.
Gene Campbell got Michael Jackson Thriller. I had that
Good
one,
album.
but that was far from in my first grade year. I got a 3-pack. I got a 3-for-1 deal.
Yeah.
Blondie, Village People, and Supertramp all in one vinyl package. I was just like, oh man, I was on top of the world.
Yeah.
But then I remember, when the cassette came clear, because they used to be white, and the cassette, my first one was ZZ Top Afterburner. That was that phase then.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. I love it. Everything that you're hearing tonight from Sean and the Cutthroat Finches is on WeP3 Radio. Super simple to find. Type in WeP3 radio, and it's the first thing. It works out really nice. It's the first thing that'll pop up. Everything on WeP3 Radio is 100% all veteran and first responder content. We are the only radio station doing that. There's not any talk on our radio, other than a few ads that we have to run just to pay for the program. Will probably eventually we got your 6 on 6 up on there at some point. We've got some comedians we'd like to get on there. You didn't grow up. Yeah, come on. It wasn't a rich thing. It just happened to be, I'll be honest with you, I got it for free because it was one of those PTA book club things on a Wednesday night, and they were giving away all this stuff, and I think I rolled a potato or something, and it landed in the right number, and I got that. That was my first album. So don't talk about, you can be resourceful. You can be resourceful. Yeah. So again, the more people we can get to listen to WeP3 Radio, again, I also get the idea and concept. We got Sean's Spotify link up here as well. Again, listening to your artists and the ones that you like and keep it rolling. That helps that algorithm and gets them. I mean, it's 0.0008 cents now for each spin and everything, but they're not. They might be able to move up to a ham sandwich instead of bologna, and that's
That's right.
It's
Yeah.
but no, it's
Get
exciting
that
conversations.
Boar's head bologna, not the Oscar Mayer stuff.
Hey, there's nothing wrong. Do you guys like a good grilled, nice quarter-inch sliced bologna grilled sandwich? Aren't they amazing?
I had one recently at a restaurant. There's a bar in Fort Worth, and Lee, you'll know it. You know, Tannehill's out in Fort Worth. It's one of the Tim Love,
Heard of it?
well-known chef. But he has on his menu, it's like he always likes to pick out, like, you know, sometimes wild game meat, different things. But at Tannehill's, which is a great venue if you're in Fort Worth, for about 700-800 people, that's in the stockyards, and he serves up, has some great oysters there, some other great fancy food. But he's got a bologna sandwich that's a killer. On that menu. When I first saw it, I was like, I have to try it, because if it's on here, it's got to be something really good, and it was. So I haven't gone on to.
Tim loves a good. He's a great chef.
I haven't done yet, but the bologna sandwich I can attest to. So
Bologna sandwich for Lee.
No, I'm not a big bologna sandwich fan personally.
Okay.
Some bad times growing up with it.
You're hanging out in the wrong bologna sandwich circles.
Well, that's definitely true, but you know, I guess I could always try it again. I'll try it at Tannehill's. How about that?
Yeah, it goes back to what you were saying, Sean. It's like you didn't know good wine until you tried a good wine. I think there is a piece in that in every facet of food. I personally have never had a tamale that I liked. I've never had one. And I've got people that they live in, they say, oh my gosh, if you don't have this tamale, you're not living life. And I'm like, I'll try it, but I've not had a good tamale. I thought growing up, and this is weird, you're going to throw stones at me here. I thought flavor for beef came by cooking it. And so a Cody, Wyoming boy thinking that the best way to cook a steak is well done. Absolutely the most. I was a dumb kid is what I was.
So ketchup and A1 sauce.
I'm not a steak. I thought Worcestershire or Worcester sauce was the stuff that use on stuff, and I'll put that on. I'll enhance stuff, but straight up, no sauce anymore. Salt and pepper and a little garlic on the old barely medium rare steak, and life is as good as it's ever going to get. I learned. Yep. But you don't know those things until you learn those pieces. And so, amazing stories tonight, gentlemen. Thank you for being here. We got one more song, don't we?
Yeah. I've got one more. That the song that's left is funny. I said sometimes songs come out fast. Sometimes this is a song I wrote and then literally rewrote completely. And you know, you were talking about, and I thought it was appropriate, you know, like just watching each other six and like looking out for each other. This song is about somebody calling me out for some bad behavior. And I had written the song before he had seen me commit this bad behavior. But when I rewrote the song, I kind of reinvigorated because my drinking habits were getting a little out of control. And I ended up going, you know, he saw me ordering shots at the bar at like 1:55, like we're about to leave and I'm ordering shots at the bar at 1:55, you know, just basking in the afterglow about what a great show we had just had. And, you know, it was just one of those things. He just asked me about it in a way that, you know, he made sure he understood, like, I'm not judging, you know, like leaning in and all this. He handled it the right way. And I thought that's such an important thing. You know, as veterans, it's like everything's going great until it's not going great. And that seems to like all of a sudden look really bad. And then it's like a lot of damage has been done. So it's like if we're not actively reaching out, like your challenge today to reach out, it's like if we're not doing that, what are we putting out in the world? What's going to come back to us? Who's going to be watching out on our back? Like if we don't expect that we should be doing that because we're not raised to think that way, and the military doesn't necessarily reinforce that. You know, I mean, we all make jokes about going on sick calls. So, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, go to sick call, go get Motrin and an IV, you know, go cry yourself. Maybe they got some, you know, but that's what the song's about. It's just it's calling out. It doesn't feel good when it happens sometimes, but it's definitely necessary. And I'm thankful for the people that I have people in my life that at least they trust that. You also got to be a person that can take the criticism and that's hard, but I know it's necessary and I appreciate it. So yeah, watch your 6.
This is Don Russell and the Cutthroat Finches calling me out.
Judge many and I have loved few. I abstain from all, still I'm nothing like you. And tonight I've tried to get clean from the outside in, but I still don't get to my dirty essence. And tonight you're calling me out. You're calling me out. It's bringing me down. You're calling me out. Well, I tried religion, I go to church too, but I still don't change and I still don't know you. And tonight you're calling me out. You're calling me out. It's bringing me down. You're calling me out. Well, I don't like faking, I wanna see through. There's two versions of me, neither one is like you. And you're calling me out, and you're saying it's time to turn round, around, round. You're calling me out. You're calling me out. It's bringing me down. You're calling me out. You're calling me out. It's bringing me down. You're calling me out.
That is Sean Russell and the Cutthroat Finches calling me out. It's weird. I have this connection with you somehow, Sean. I don't get it. Your lyric and the way that you approach a conversation and all the pieces. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but I'm only setting the stage for our next. Usually there's a connection or a space or a place or something that connects during our show with the people. And we do what's called our final thoughts. And typically I have one of my team members kind of rattle off their final thoughts and say, this is how this impacted me. This is where the conversation took to me. I think your last song impacted me the most. I loved all your songs tonight. But your last song impacted me the most in the fact that how you set it up. And in having real conversations is tough.
Yeah.
I don't know where my book is, but ultimate responsibility and being able to swallow a little bit of pride and having real conversations is the direction I've gone. Now, that a Navy SEAL team, 2 guys from Navy SEALs wrote that book, and wasn't a super fan of the book and the fact that they brought a lot of Navy SEAL stuff to the book, which I get it. That's their experience. That's their world. But I read between the lines to get the bigger pieces, the pieces of, what was my role in what's going on? And could I have done better? Could the communication have been better? Could my action have been better? And I really felt that that's what that last song was about. You did set it up with, hey, what's my role in this? Do I need to do this last thing? Or should I be more responsible and taking action? I get excited every week for the show and our podcast, broadcast, live stream, in the fact that we get to connect with others, connect with our guests, connect with our listeners, and that there's always a mission behind the scenes. There's always something going on. And do I wish more people would make the investment? I do. I'm not gonna lie. This we talk about this in our board meetings all the time. Your social media does not have to reflect that you are a WeP3 person, and that is. Do I want it to? Yeah, I would like it to. I would like everyone to see the beacon. I would like everyone to see our green. Our green doesn't go unseen. It's an oxymoron. It's this alien green on black digital camo is an oxymoron. You're going to see it. And I know that our men and women who have served don't necessarily want to be in the limelight. They don't necessarily want to be patted on the back for their service. But there is nothing wrong in knowing and identifying that you get to lay your big fat heads on the pillows of freedom every single day, not knowing how you got those freedoms.
Yeah.
Boom. Drop it. We have men and women who have lost sweat, time, lost blood, have lost their limbs, have lost loved ones, have lost their lives. So you can drive down and grab whatever coffee, mocha, latte, hoochie hachi, whatever you want to drink. I mean, that is a privilege because of men and women's service. Bottom line, period. So, my question always is, what are you doing? I know what I'm doing. I know I could do more. If people came along and helped and took stuff off my plate, we could do more and progress more. But I'm also not against being called out. Call me out.
Yeah.
And because that makes me better. That makes me stronger. And you know what? At some point, it may not be none of your business.
Yeah.
But at some point, if it makes your brother stronger, if the version of me tomorrow is better than the version of me today, A, you done your job. B, I've done my job. C, we're going to keep doing and doing more.
Yeah.
Thank you. Lee, what's your final thoughts?
Oh, I like the song "Calling Me Out." To be honest, there's this. I was on a call the other day with a marketer, and he basically said the same thing to me, like, you could be doing more, and what are you doing? And I just, it's so funny if you don't track everything, then you kind of, things just kind of fall through the cracks. And I realized that, that was happening with me. And so we started just we turned that into something productive. And so that's why we're doing what we're doing in 2026 to kind of make it to where these servicemen and women, these first responders, can get more, more sight, more eyeballs on their brand, on their businesses, just because why not? I mean, I'm a big believer in small business. I think that's kind of what this country was built on. Um, Military helps with the protection of that, but if it weren't for the small businesses, then we wouldn't have the strong country that we do today. Um,
You're not wrong.
and and I think that the small business is really under attack more and more every single year. So let's get more people into that. And so that's what we're doing. That's my final thoughts. Support that small business, the local business. Uh, Quit going to the big boxes, those conglomerates. They have enough money. Let's focus on the small people, the people who actually matter, the people in your community.
Yeah. I totally agree. I totally agree with that. Totally echo that, because I feel the same way about music. And it's funny, like it's like, because the military's done its job so good, that's why people go to Starbucks and they don't have to even think about it. I'm glad that no one can relate to some of the stuff that, especially my veterans who served in some really hard combat situations. I'm glad that my kids and others couldn't possibly relate to that. That's kind of like the job well done. So there's the dichotomy is, but at the same point, you do want to bring to attention veterans cause and remind people that they're still out there on the line.
Right.
There's people out there holding that line, and that matters too. It's like there's a right balance. It seems out of balance. I don't know what the solution is, but piggybacking on that note, my final thought would be just I am trying to create those intentional conversations. I've started to realize, like, you also have, like, you have sometimes a lot of unhealthy people, or the most needy people are the ones that really just they're in a spot in their life where it's all take. So you also have to, it's like creating a network of people. And with veterans, I think it's automatically a kinship that you have with people that are veterans. So if you're a vet who maybe doesn't really understand why it would matter, and you haven't really ever taken that time to connect with veterans to talk, there's just the way we talk to each other, the way we talk about stuff. Veterans are all wired. It's like hanging out with my brothers. Literally, my brothers and I all talk to each other the same way, sometimes in the most immature ways, but just always cutting up, always talking about bad things. But I creating community and investing in relationships. Sometimes it's just like intentionally calling, and I literally had this conversation today. I was like, I'm doing this to be intentional so I get used to talking about some stuff that does stress me out, because I've been stressed out for the last couple, I've been, my day jobs, working music, getting my last kid out of college, another friend that's, just been really sick, a veteran in town that I've been trying to help with, that their apartment burned down, this whole apartment complex. I can't help all of them, but I can help this one kid. He's a young vet, just moved here to get his nursing license and everything, and his whole apartment burned down, has nothing. It's like, I can't change the whole world, but again, can I just be a light in my little world? And can I just, it's like, can I just plug into a couple people? And if I can do that with 6 people, I mean, if Jesus only had 12 friends that he could kind of count on, I'm going to try to get 6 and hope I can make that work.
So, and you grab the hands of 6 of your best friends, and then go take care of that one person. You're lightening the load, man. We've got it. I know we got it. I know we can make a difference. I know that all these pieces are there. Again, thank you guys for being here tonight. Amazing. I'm excited about the relationship that's being built, and hopefully this isn't the last time we connect with each of you. Again, my middle name there is Paws. I like to get there. It sounds weird, but I like to get my paws on you at some point and just build and grow a relationship. We're going to shut her down here, folks. We're here every Monday at 4:30 as well for the WeP3 weekly debrief. We do share all the things that WeP3 is doing. WeP3 is short for We the People, the People's Patriot Project. This next week, we have a first responder musician, Michael Eisenby. Amazing, soulful, down to earth. You're going to love the guy. And then we also have Mike Deibler with Veteran Command, an amazing mission of showing veterans where they've been. in the world, and he'll map that all out. If you guys got a moment to stay post show to talk about a little bit of collaboration and growth, we can do that. If you got to go, you're giving us your hour. You're almost giving us your 2 hours, so we totally get it. I know Lee's got to do some pre-gaming for tomorrow and get rolling for his big birthday. Birthday. Again, thank you to you guys for being here. Thank you for our listeners and our watchers who came and watched tonight. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for the WeP3 team for putting this all together and helping me do the things. Thank you to our families that let us continue to serve after the mission. We'll see you when the smoke clears. Remember to check your 6. Patriot Pride.
You got it.
Patriot Pride.